This book shows full contact karate fighting. Hi guys, my name's Joe, and welcome to Fighting Words, the martial arts library. On this channel I review martial arts books and talk about other martial arts related subjects. The subject for today's review is Sabaki Method, Karate in the Inner Circle. It was published in 1998, and the authors are Joko Ninomiya and Ed Zorensky. Now, Mr. Ninomiya was the founder of Enshin karate. This is an offshoot of Kyokushin, sort of that knockdown full contact style. He was actually a champion full contact. Mr. Zorensky was one of his students. The book begins by describing what Sabaki is. It says it's the central principle of Enshin karate, and that the idea is you're using the opponent's force against them. The first chapter is on basic hand strikes. These are everything from stuff you would find in full contact competition, like the hook punch, to more traditional strikes like the knife hand strike, as well as the elbow strike. Plenty of other strikes are listed here. We get 3 different stances in this section. We get the horse stance, the sanshin stance, and the fighting stance. This chapter is full of photographs, but it will also use diagrams to help the reader better understand what's going on. And he will also demonstrate with weapons in order to give someone an idea of how the body moves. For instance, he demonstrates using a baseball bat how to rotate the hips. Following that is a brief chapter on blocks covering the upper, middle, and lower blocks, and this includes a block and punch drill. After that, we get an extensive chapter on kicking. I really find this one of the most valuable parts of the book. This covers so many different types of kicks, everything from a groin kick to a spinning hook kick. Not every kick shown here is used for competition or has a practical application. Some of them are used for stretching, for instance, like this one. There's a lot of really good details in this chapter. For instance, there's one section where he's detailing what parts of the leg and foot to use to contact with a round kick, depending on what your target is. So if you're going for the thighs, you aim with the shin. If you go for the body, you aim with the ball of the foot. If you go for the head, you use the instep. Next, we get a section on the Sabaki Method, which generally means moving away from the attack to the outside of an opponent in order to attack them from their blind spot. And there are several pages that elaborate on this. This includes the use of blocks as well as the use of grabs. Next, we get a section on takedowns. Now, most of these are actually like low kicks and sweeps. Next is a section on defense and counterattacking. The defensive strategy includes things like jamming the opponent by moving into the attack, as well as evasions by moving away from the attack. As far as the counter and offensive strategy goes, again, it's moving to the outside of the opponent using Sabaki. And there's also a principle of attacking low and then coming up high with one's attacks. Next is a section on advanced defense. This includes defense against the opponent's grabbing attacks, because again, grabbing is allowed in competition, so they'll grab onto the gi. So this shows defense against that. And this also shows defense against the opponent's combinations, both kicking and punching. Following that is a chapter on equipment training, things like the bag and the pads that the opponent can hold. And in this section, we also get things like warm-ups and stretching. The warm-ups will be familiar to anyone familiar with karate warm-ups. There's a lot of, like rotating of the neck, rotating of the hips, and things like that. Following that, we get a section on kata. There's a white belt kata and a green belt kata. These are not traditional karate kata. These I would call fighting kata. So they are designed specifically to emphasize the types of movements that would be used in competition. And we get applications as well as the fundamental movements. After that is a section on weight training. And then we get a section on breaking. And then this covers a number of different mediums, including breaking ice, breaking baseball bats, and breaking boards. The next chapter is one on self-defense. And This covers a broad array of scenarios. Sometimes it's using the clothing to stop an opponent's attack. Sometimes it's a defense against a gun attack. Sometimes we get grappling attacks that end in sort of judo-esque situations, like this armbar here. The book finishes up with a section on the Sabaki Challenge, which is the annual competition, and actually ends with a very helpful glossary. And as far as the pros go, I like how this book had an extensive section on the techniques used for full contact karate, a lot of the drills. So the sabaki, the actually moving away from the opponent's attacks, I appreciate the very in-depth kicking section, so I think that there's a lot of value there. The self-defense section, I like how it included how to use the environment to your advantage. Not like the wilderness environment, but like the modern urban environment, like using walls and things like that. As far as the cons go, I take a little bit of issue with the organization of this book. It seems to jump around a little bit in some places. And I think if this book was going to be as descriptive as it was, it's sort of disappointing that it only included 2 of the kata. As far as recommendations go, I actually recently put this book on my list of books that are helpful for people to develop their kicks. So I think the extensive kicking section could be good for anyone looking to do that. Anyone interested in full contact karate can get a good idea of that from here. Self-defense section, some parts of it were pretty good. It's not a self-defense book per se, but there are some interesting ideas there to check out. But anyway, that's all I have for this week. Let me know what you guys have any thoughts on this, and I'll see you around.